AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Mute. So. And Mr. Toby Tom play. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Talk to Shea Dixon coming up here in about 13 minutes from right now. The big story in recruiting, of course, is five-star number one player in the country, Jalen Brewster. He will announce this week, sometime this week, on his YouTube channel, if he's sticking with Texas Tech or if he's flipping to LSU. He has not yet made public when, like what day and time he's going to make that announcement. Only it's leaked that he's going to make that announcement this week. So when he does, we'll talk about it. Shea will be here in about 13 minutes to give us all the latest. If you have questions or prospects you want me to ask about specifically with Shea, email us, tweet us, text us. You can text me, 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400, or text the show at 499-1045, 499-1045. Kellen Moore was asked today, in light of Xavier Harris, who had spent time with the Saints and is now back in college and committed to LSU. Kellen Moore was asked his thoughts on the NFL players going back to school.
I just think it's unfortunate. There's no regulation to anything right now. Obviously, my brother coaches college football, so I get to kind of follow closely from a fan perspective, just watching everything that college football is going through. And so, I think it's a balancing act. Obviously, you want as many opportunities for all these guys. At the same time, there's kids that just work their tail off all offseason and all season long, and they have to make decisions on their roster now because of added players. And so I think there's a challenging balancing act of this, and hopefully there can be some leadership and some regulations developed here shortly.
It's, it's really unfortunate that the players lost their tails. Can I get a rim shot? Nothing? Just silence? It's radio. People are listening, not watching. Someone watching.
How do you
they lost their tails.
How do you think that happened to them?
They worked. They worked so hard that their tails fell off.
Man. Can you fix that?
I don't think you can.
Once you lose the tail, it's just gone?
Gone. They're not geckos.
And grow back, yeah.
Doesn't grow back. It's unfortunate they worked their tail off. In other NFL coaching news, remember a day ago, Lane Kiffin said, but this, by the way, I started the show today saying I thought Lane Kiffin did a great job a day ago explaining at his press conference the situation with these athletes, the 5 for 5. Like, he really did a very good, concise job explaining what happened. It's just that he's the wrong messenger, is the way I said it. Because, like, most people don't trust Lane Kiffin. I posted the video yesterday of Kiffin, because I asked him the question about Todd Monken. Remember, Todd Monken, the Browns coach, said, I guess that's why Lane Kiffin called me a couple weeks ago. I should have answered the phone. I should have called him back. Remember that Todd Monken said that at his press conference. So I asked Lane why he felt the need to call Todd Monken. He said he never called Todd Monken. If you go read the Twitter replies, This the same guy who claimed he got run off the road on the way to the airport. Everyone knows Kiffin has trouble with the truth. Let's finally trust the guy who lies a lot. One person just put a gif of the Brady Bunch girl, Marcia, going, "Sure, Jan." Could have been Joey Freshwater. Yeah, that's BS. He knows who Todd Monken is. He was friends with Kirby Smart, knows the OC at Georgia when we won our back-to-back natties. Y'all, like every answer, every one. And that thing has been seen 389,000 times. There's more than 120 retweets, 200 comments, like every one of them. And I was just going, I wasn't cherry picking. I was just reading in order. It's all negative about Lane. Well, Todd Monken today was asked about Lane Kiffin, saying, yeah, I never called Todd Monken. This is what Monken said.
Well, I did. Okay. First off, I should not. One of our staff had said, that's when I said us, not me, okay? I said that Lane Kiffin, or one of our staff had said that they'd gotten a text. I should have followed through with it. Maybe they meant someone from their staff, right? That's on me. Should not throw someone's name out there without what? Following through with it, right? I was just making light of it. I was really not trying
to make
a big thing of it.
He goes on for 2 minutes, but the point is, Lane Kiffin was being truthful. And I told you yesterday. Didn't we talk about this yesterday? I was like, I feel like I have a good read on Lane Kiffin. For 8 months, I've listened to everything that dude has spoken into a microphone. And when he doesn't want to answer a question, there was something, I forget what it was something last week when he got asked, and like 3 of his answers totaled like 10 seconds. When he don't want to answer something, he's dismissive. When it's something he's passionate about, he will give you a long, very thoughtful, thorough answer. And like when he lies, it's usually dismissive and very short. He gave a good, thorough answer to the Monken thing. I thought he was being honest. And lo and behold, a day later, Todd Monken's, yeah, well, okay, so he didn't really call me. So Lane Kiffin got dragged through the mud on that one by people saying he was lying, and here comes Todd Monken, yeah, okay, Lane was actually right. So all that to say, not to call it Todd Monken, I don't really care. It's not really a thing. It's just to illustrate the point that Lane isn't the right messenger. Because people don't like him, don't try. Like everyone here in Baton Rouge loves Lane Kiffin. He's the toast of the town. He's the cock of the walk. He left Ole Miss to come here. $50 million roster. Everyone thinks they're going to win a championship, whatever. He hadn't lost a game yet. He's leading Mardi Gras parades and on stage with Boosie. Everybody loves him, right? Everywhere else, they hate him. So he's not the guy to go champion this really controversial roster move. So they say nobody can listen to him. That's the problem. Like he went on McAfee today. Lane did. And tried again.
All court orders have been followed, so I think you're going to get in a really interesting situation if now, as a conference, you start to say, well, we're not going to follow this court order that's been issued, and we're going to say that these kids that the court says can go anywhere, we're going to say, no, you can't. That's some issues there, Pat.
Lane saying, you're setting precedent right now and picking and choosing which ones you like, which ones you don't like. That's going to be a fascinating story as you set a precedent here against.
Doesn't work like that, Pat. You can't decide, hey, I like that injunction. I don't like that one. You know, like that player I kind of like, and I like the way that they got him eligible. And so we're going to follow those rules, but not these. You know, that really doesn't work that way.
To his point, the only reason Trinidad Chambliss is eligible is the NCAA said you're not eligible. He went to court, got an injunction. He's playing. Joey Aguilar went to court, lost. He's not playing. These players went to court. They've got a TRO. Monday is the hearing for the preliminary injunction. And so people keep asking me, hey, what do you think is going to happen? What I think is going to happen is they're going to go to court on Monday. They're going to get a preliminary injunction, and they're going to play. That's what I think is going to happen. The biggest hurdle remaining is, does the SEC intervene? Like, does the SEC do what the Big Ten did today? They said, we'll suspend you for the coach for half a season. Like, they can't make you not play the player, but they can suspend the coach and fine the institution. What did I see just a minute ago? Suspend for half the season, fine like $1 million or something, like an institutional fine. Like, is that enough? Like, is the SEC going to do that? Maybe. Is that enough to deter? I don't know. What I do know is that SEC leadership is meeting right now in Birmingham. President Wade Roos is there. And I was told earlier in communication with Dr. Roos's office that he was flying there for these meetings, flying back. He was leaving Birmingham at 5 to fly back to Baton Rouge for Skip Bertman's memorial, and then is flying right back to Birmingham for the meetings tomorrow. So something is going to come out of these meetings over the next 2 days with the SEC's position. And then they're going to have a tough decision to make with how they proceed. Are you going to allow these players to play without any punishment? And does the court's ruling override an SEC rule? Remains to be seen. We'll follow it as we learn more. Okay, it's after further review. We're brought to you by First South Farm Credit. FirstSouthFarmCredit.com. FirstSouthFarmCredit.com. You're thinking of buying land. Your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. It's easy. You can always log on to FirstSouthFarmCredit.com. 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 At First South Farm Credit, remember, they've been helping Louisianians buy land since 1916. It's more than 100 years. So I would recommend you start, because they have this expertise, at the website where they have the Ultimate Recreational Land Buyer's Guide. It's on the homepage. Click it. It's a free resource. That'll get you started with what you need to know. And get in touch with a local loan officer there at First South Farm Credit. Maybe you work in New Orleans, but you want to live on the North Shore, buy 20 acres and build your family's dream home and commute. They can help you do it. They got an office right there in Amite. FirstSouthFarmCredit.com. Log on, FirstSouthFarmCredit.com. Okay, it's after further review. Let me knock out a break. Come back. I do want to talk about the LSU basketball program here in about 20 minutes. RJ Lewis is now eligible. Tigers picked up a center from Israel. Hunt reported that earlier today at LouisianaSports.net. Ross Jackson's coming up in about 47 minutes from right now. When we come back, talk some recruiting with Shea Dixon. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by the Watermark and the Renaissance. Watermark Downtown, Renaissance Southtown. Watermark is Baton Rouge's premier hotel property. Gorgeous luxury hotel on the corner of 3rd and Convention. If you've never been, just make it a point to go. For whatever reason it is. Maybe it's a staycation. Maybe you look ahead to this weekend, the final weekend before football season starts. Plan a night away. Go downtown. Have dinner maybe there at the Gregory inside of Watermark Baton Rouge. Walk 3rd Street. Do a little bar hopping maybe. Catch some live music. So much going on in downtown. Right there on the river. And then stay in the beautiful, elegant Watermark Hotel. Or maybe you need to have a client lunch. Gregory's open every day for lunch. Tell your clients, hey, let's meet downtown at the Gregory and go eat lunch there. Scona don't like parking downtown. No worries. If you're eating at the Gregory, free valet parking. It's at Watermark Baton Rouge, right downtown, 3rd and Convention, Watermark Baton Rouge. Supper Club open again tonight. They're open every Tuesday to Saturday, and y'all, football season is almost upon us. Man, it is time to get those reservations locked in for home games. Remember, while they're not a sports bar, they do have TVs, and they have the drop-down screen in the side by the lounge next to the bar. So depending on where you sit, you actually get a good view of the game. So if you want to go have that incredible dining experience on a Saturday, you could do so. And instead of popping into a sports bar and eating a greasy cheeseburger, go have a world-class meal at Supper Club. Sit at the bar, any of their 14 bar stools or 7 bar top tables. They got the drop-down screen over on the side in the lounge that you could see. Or maybe before or after the game, great spot to pop on into. Hey, look, every Tuesday to Saturday, Supper Club is open. Get your reservations at supperclubbtr.com. Football Fridays are going to be filling up. Get your reservations now. SupperClubBTR.com.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
She likes the way it's pulling while we're tilling up a land. She's even kind of crazy about my farmer's tan. She's the only one who really understands what gets me.
All right, a little breaking news from Adam Schefter. We're going to get to Shea here in a second, but this was totally expected, but it has happened now. Former Browns tight end Daquan Wright, he cleared waivers today and now is expected to sign with LSU on Wednesday. So Wright will go from Cleveland to LSU, become the first player to go from an NFL roster back to college. Woo! Shea Dixon, on 3, the Bengal Tiger, good enough to join us. Shady, how are you, man?
I'm doing well, Matt. Can you hear me?
Shea, you sound amazing. What happened?
I fixed it on my own. Despite Muso's best efforts, I just had to go solo and rogue and fix it myself.
So Muso screwed it up.
Yeah, he even told me he couldn't hear me right before we got on, so that was risky.
That's just not true at all. I never said that.
None of this is true. Muso, how can you hear anything I'm saying right now?
You sound great.
Well, there you go.
It's 4:19. In the next 10 minutes or so, Muso will be just on a different planet from all of us. Don't worry about it, Shea. You know what I mean. Okay. Hey, by the way, we came in talking about Daquan Wright, one of 3 players LSU has added. Controversial additions aside, Shea, from your perspective, what do these additions do to the roster, and any idea what else they might be targeting?
Yeah, I mean, I look at Daquan Wright as the guy who led the nation for tight ends, at least, in yards after the catch, over 10 yards. I mean, he averaged 16 yards per catch, caught in 40 balls, basically. So 5 touchdowns. This is a in Lane's offense and Charlie's offense a year ago. He was at 40 yards a game, which was with Caden Lee and Deuce Alexander. And it wasn't that high, actually. But anyhow, no, that was Winnie Watkins lower. So, yes, with those guys. So this is one of their better pass catchers from a year ago. And you've got Trey Dez. Like, this is what making the roster better at any point you can looks like. We've seen Will Wade do it. We've seen Lane Kiffin do it through the portal, but everyone was doing it. And with no spring window, I mean, they added one JUCO guy to get depth at corner. But when this 5-for-5 stuff came into play, there was no doubt they were going beyond just adding a player like they did out of Notre Dame, where he had no NFL experience, and they go out and add 2 guys, including Wright, who, remember, too, he goes undrafted out of Ole Miss, gets picked up by the Eagles, then let go, then picked up by the Browns, then waived, and now we're sitting here, as you said, watching Adam Schefter's Twitter for expected news of he's cleared NFL waivers and is headed to Baton Rouge, which they're saying this is the first. I know someone's mentioned a Texas player maybe this week did it similar. So in the same time frame, we're seeing these dominoes fall. And the common theme there would be SEC. And with all that's been talked about with the Big Ten today and decided upon, we'll see what happens.
By the way, former NFL running back Anthony Hankerson plans to enter the transfer portal. Played ball at Colorado and Oregon State, and there's a photo of him in the Miami Dolphins uniform. So it's comical, Shea, to hear all the.
Is it former NFL players? And I'm not saying towards any of these rulings. I'm just saying, on the streets. Are you a former NFL player at one point if you never made a roster?
I would say if you signed a contract, yes.
Okay. All right.
So, but again, I'm not here to have that conversation. The single biggest conversation, Shea, that everyone wants you and me to talk about is Jalen Brewster. So we know he's supposed to make a decision this week. What do we know?
Well, he transferred, first off, into Georgia. He's at Buford now for his senior year, but I don't think that has much to do with LSU. And even, look, he can get high school NIL money in Georgia that he wouldn't be able to get in Texas with different deals. So I think that was behind showing up a week before school starts to play for a new team in a new state, leaving Cedar Hill. But he did tell Steve Wiltfong this week he'll make a final decision on school, his college. Not necessarily, he's done high school, right? So now we're on to college. Still committed to Tech, and I think Steve thinks that's where he stays committed. I haven't heard anything different from down here in Baton Rouge. I think that we saw that initial surge, right? But then we've been in a 2-month dead period. And I think that surge, that initial honeymoon phase may have worn off a little bit. And then it goes back to Texas Tech, the team that's had its commitment for nearly a year, Matt, being the ones who've kind of steadied the ship. Look, in the NIL era, they've done a lot of things for him. I think rev share wise as well, that for him maybe makes sense to stick. So this wasn't one like an Eastern Royal where it's like, oh, there's an expectation he flips. It was more of a hope, and we'll see what the week holds. But I would say for now, most people think he's going to stick with Texas Tech.
If he makes that announcement, Shea, and he does stick with Texas Tech, would you assume that it's done?
I would. And I wouldn't even be surprised if it was done at D-line if it wasn't Jalen Brewster, in large part because, look, they can keep swinging for the fences there and see if they can get him on a game day visit or something like that. But beyond that, they know the portal awaits, and you've got a crop of young guys who are really good. You've got transfers who have years of eligibility remaining, other guys on roster with time remaining, and they haven't. It was kind of Brewster or bust. So unless someone emerges as a senior, I kind of think maybe they keep inviting him around, keep in contact where it is. But I think D-line wise, they're probably fine in this class.
Okay. Shea Dixon's with us on 3, the Bengal Tiger. You get him at Shea Dixon, of course, rivals on the recruiting side. You mentioned they might keep trying to invite him to get him around. Well, there's a bigger game, obviously, than LSU Clemson here to start the season a week from Saturday. Last time we talked, Shea, that visitor list was growing. What else do we know about how that's going to look a week from Saturday?
Yeah, it's 10, 11 days away. But one of the new additions, or at least confirmed with us, is Caden Lancelin. And we talked about him previously. He's coming out of Westgate, 4-star receiver. Has said LSU's recruited him the hardest. He's picked up some big SEC offers. So he's already a top 25 receiver in the country. So this is, I think right now, let's see, in the Louisiana State rankings for next year, he's number 2. So outside of Shamar Evans at Ruston, the linebacker, right now he's ranked as the second best player going into his junior year. So getting those guys on campus early is big. Look, Carter St. Junius out of Manville over in Texas is another big one, playing receiver, also a top 25 receiver nationally, and has got LSU bloodlines, the son of Tasman. So he's playing over there at Manville, though, so he's playing big-time football in Texas. And he said that he's got probably a better relationship with LSU's coaches right now than anyone, that Lane and the new staff have done a really good job in kind of short order here, getting to know him and moving to the top of his list. And there's a number of other guys for next year that'll be in, but you'll have your commits in. And among them is 5-star Ahmad Hudson, who's committed for basketball and football. And we've talked about Nebraska trying to flip him in both sports. So getting him to campus right away is big. And yes, indeed, Matt, we won't go a week without it. Easton Royal update. He indeed will be visiting for Clemson. Still remains committed to Texas, but that's one that I've said that by signing day in December, I think he is committed to LSU. That would require a flip, and we haven't seen it happen yet, but he does already have multiple visits locked in, the other being the Texas game in November. But to get him there for the Clemson game, Lane's first game, we know the atmosphere is going to be unbelievable. I think that's pretty key. So 11 days until Easton rolls on campus. And Matt, that's the first weekend guys will have visited since June 30th, however many days there were in June, 30, 31, but
30.
We're right. I mean, what? It took me 5 years to graduate from LSU. Okay, calm down. Let's be real here. Right. But we're in a 2-month dead period. So we're 5-6 days out here from the dead period ending. Teams that host week 0 games can have recruits on campus, but then starting that week 1 is when everybody can have recruits back again. So good news that Eastern Roll and all these other guys are there kind of right out of the gates.
Shea, before you go, while we were talking there, we were talking about Royal. You reminded me of one thing. We've talked so much about the new 5 for 5 because of these 2022 prospects having another year of eligibility and all that stuff. But something that probably shouldn't go overlooked here is the fact that the current seniors have another year. So meaning guys like Whit Weeks and Jace Brown, talking about not the 5th-year guys, but the seniors. So Prince Will, Uman Miel, and Jace Brown, Ty Benefield, Whit Weeks, all those guys have another year. Do you have any idea if that is affecting the roster numbers affecting the way LSU's looking at the 2027 class?
I mean, it has to. That's something Billy Glasscock, the GM, is doing daily. So yes, I would think that they're already balancing that. We know they have to balance it right now. They're going to be over whatever it is, 105. So how do you trim down a little bit? And look, you're counting walk-ons into that as well. So I get it. They'll find a way. But yeah, that is one big thing. And the other would be the rev share, which at this point you've capped, right? So you're just probably doing NIL deals for anyone who's joining the team late if this gets pushed through. But then again, you just mentioned some heavy hitters. What if they're back on the team again next year and you're adding, guys like an Easton Roll, all of that? Your total roster value goes up indeed, and you start to have to make decisions there. And I think that's sort of, as the season plays out, something they monitor all the way through. So we are getting closer and closer to the NFL model. This is what NFL front offices deal with every single day.
He's Shea Dixon, On3, the Bengal Tiger. Get him at Shea Dixon. Of course, you go subscribe up at On3, part of Rivals there on the recruiting side. Shady, we appreciate it as always, man. Thanks for the time.
Wait till they start picking up that fifth-year option in college, Matt. That's when you know it's going to get interesting.
But do they have to do it the year in advance? That's what we got to do before the prior season. That's what we got to know.
That's right. All right. I appreciate it, Matt.
Thanks, man. We'll see you. That's Shea Dixon. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Hancock Whitney Bank, the official banking partner of LSU Athletics, the official banking partner of the New Orleans Saints. It's Hancock Whitney and my bank. Hancock Whitney has been my bank for as long as I've had a checking account. I love my relationship with Hancock Whitney. I can tell you, I remember when I opened a separate account. I did so down at the downtown branch on North. When I was in college and lived in Mid-City, the Government Street location near Jefferson was my branch. Now the Highland location near the Country Club is my branch. And no matter where you go around Baton Rouge or around Louisiana or Mississippi or Alabama or the Panhandle of Florida, you're going to find a Hancock Whitney. There's nearly 200 branches, more than 200 ATMs. It's Hancock Whitney Bank, and of course, they are the official banking partner of the LSU Tigers and of the New Orleans Saints. So, be a card-carrying member of the Who Dat Nation or of Tiger Nation with Hancock Whitney. Learn more at HancockWhitney.com/Matt, M-A-T-T, it's my name, HancockWhitney.com/Matt. And quite honestly, I just love that they gave me a custom URL for the show. So if you would, just type that in so we drive some traffic to the URL, because I think that's awesome. HancockWhitney.com/Matt. All right, it's After Further Review. Thanks for hanging out with us here. Appreciate Shay. Ross Jackson will be here in 30 minutes from right now. The Saints did put two players today on season-ending IR. Former seventh-round draft pick tight end Maliki Mataval and running back Ty Chandler have both been placed on. Their seasons are over with injuries. Of course, Chandler suffered that knee injury this past weekend. So the running back room continues to get just gutted. But that is one that we sort of anticipated, right, with the trade for Zamir White. We knew they were going to need a body. Well, this here tells you why. So Maliki Mataval and Ty Chandler, their seasons are over. Ross Jackson's with us in 30 minutes from right now. We'll talk about practice today and all the other roster moves. Let me knock out a quick break. A couple of big roster additions for Will Wade. I want to talk about R.J. Lewis and the big Israeli center that they got today. We'll do it next on AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness, yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com. Check them out online, yourgoodwood.com. Schedule your consultation over there. If you want to feel your best inside out, Goodwood can help you do it. Moscona will have ED. Great. I'm fired up for you. But that's not all they do. If you do have ED, they can help. And it's not just the blue pill. They got tons of different options for you that could help you there. But they also have hormone replacement therapy. I've told you many times, it's not that so much of that is about regaining the youthful feeling you had when you were younger. Every single one of us, as we age, our bodies produce less of the hormones that contribute to how we feel. Stress can be an accelerator, so it's not just about your age, the number. It's about how you feel. And sometimes you don't know how bad you feel until you start feeling good again. Simple blood test can let you know if you're a candidate. yourgoodwood.com. Check them out, yourgoodwood.com.
After Further Review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
We ride back and forth till we run out of light. Take it to the barn, put it
As always, we appreciate our friends over at Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Y'all, a week from Saturday, LSU Clemson, it's tailgate day. Look, John Deere, yeah, at Sunshine, you can get a Deere, a tractor, a combine, zero-turn mowers, gators. They got all that. They also have, like, portable generators, fans. You need that for your tailgate? Sunshine, sunequip.com, sunequip.com. Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. While all of the college football-loving world is hating Lane Kiffin, the college basketball-loving world is hating Will Wade, LSU, just playing that villain role so well. And on Monday, in a Baton Rouge courtroom, R.J. Lewis, this should come as no surprise to anybody, R.J. Lewis was granted an injunction to be eligible. If you're not familiar, the very abbreviated Cliffs Notes, R.J. Lewis was the Big East Player of the Year at St. John's 2 years ago, averaged 18 points a game. He's outstanding on a really good St. John's team. After 3 years in college, played his first season at UMass, 2 years at St. John's, and then declared for the draft. He went undrafted and signed a two-way contract in the NBA. And now, because he couldn't make it in professional basketball, wants to come back to college. There's two parts of this. On the floor, objectively, this makes Will Wade's team much better. You added a veteran player who is the former Conference Player of the Year in the Big East. R.J. Lewis is a point guard. He can get buckets. He's a facilitator as well. He's a great player. You added a great player, guy who's probably immediately the best player on your team. There's that part of it. There's the other part of it where I'm going to tell you today what I told you the day they got the commitment from R.J. Lewis. I hate this. It's disgusting. It's despicable. And you're going to sit there and go, but Scone, you're sitting there talking about all these NFL guys coming back. This is the illustration that I'm going to make and have tried to make, but so many people just don't want to hear it because you can't differentiate when you just see a pro jersey because you just see optics. Matt Mauck was a professional baseball player. He won a national title at LSU in football. Different sport. Does it matter? He was a professional athlete who came back to school. You can focus on optics if you want. I'm here to talk about practicality. The bottom line is R.J. Lewis left college. He had eligibility remaining. He chose to leave. He chose to leave. It didn't work out for him. Now he wants to come back. There was a black and white NCAA rule that if you signed a professional contract, including a two-way deal, which is what he signed, you're out of eligibility. But he went to court to get an injunction, which he got. And I know their argument. I've heard what their argument is. He never unenrolled from school and he never played in a game. Don't care. You left. You went through the draft. You went undrafted. You signed a two-way contract. You're done. Done. And then I get hit with, well, he's going to play somewhere. You'd rather play somewhere else? I don't care. I don't care where he plays. This is the problem. And when I keep pointing at the adults in the room, I'm telling you, this is the problem. Because if the adults in the room would stand up and say, no, you're ineligible, we're going to abide by NCAA rule, we wouldn't be having this conversation. He's going to make Will Wade's team a lot better. But this is despicable. This I will never be okay with. Now, on the other side, today LSU got a commitment from a 7'3" center out of Israel, Gilad Levy. I'm perfectly fine with this. NCAA rule allows international players to even players that played professionally to come into college basketball. Now that's going to change with the new 5-for-5. Gilad Levy's 24 years old. Under the new 5-for-5 rule, he wouldn't be eligible. So next year, 27-28, he would not be eligible. So he's got one crack at it. Okay. The rules allow for it now. Mazel tov. Go get them. Last year, there were over 400 international players in college basketball. That's why we go down this list where all these dopes are sitting here melting and moaning and whining about Will Wade bringing in all these guys internationally. What's the guy? Jeff Goodman. My God, is that dude? Did Will Wade pull down his pants at a frat party? Like, what did Will Wade do to Jeff Goodman? I have no idea. But look around college basketball. Every roster is littered with international players that were former pros. So I have no problem whatsoever with Will Wade adding Gilad Levy, Bryce Desire, Salu Nyang, Marcio Santos, Michael Ruzic, all those international players, bring them on. It's totally legal. I have no problem with it. If you don't like it, change the rule. And if the NCAA changes the rule, fine, then you won't be able to recruit those guys. So I'm being consistent here. Like, I'm going to tell you, if the NCAA allows it, okay. If not, and you go to court to get an injunction, you're part of the problem. If you dovetail that into the football conversation, not the football because it's all sports, because there's even basketball players, the 2022 guys, the problem is NCAA rule gave them eligibility. But another NCAA rule took their eligibility away. So which is good? That's the gray area with the 2022 argument we're having. The new 5 for 5 gives them another year. Like, they're eligible. But because they left to sign a pro deal, they're ineligible. Well, which is it? They only left because you told them they weren't until they were. That's the gray area. That's why they're going to court to try to figure this thing out. There is no such ambiguity with R.J. Lewis. Now, you look at the roster that Will Wade has built. It's kind of funny. Everybody kept saying, you got one guy on the roster? This was never a thing where you had one guy on the roster. So you've added Abdi Bashir, the guard from Kansas State, Mo Diabate, the forward from Kentucky, Austin Nunez, the guard from UTSA, and then Divine Ugochukwu, the guard from Michigan State. You've added R.J. Lewis, Donovan Dent, who's one of the 2022 guys in the 5 for 5 deal, who averaged 13 and 7. He got a California court injunction, so he's eligible. And then Sky Clark, the guard, another addition from UCLA. So you've got, as you mentioned, the 4 that are on the roster, right? The 3 that I just mentioned, Lewis, Dent, and Clark, that puts you at 7. And then you look at the 5 international players, Levy, Desire, Nyang, Santos, Ruzic, that puts you at 12. So, just like that, as Will Wade promised on John Rothstein's podcast months ago, wait till school starts and you'll see we'll be all right. Well, school start and lo and behold, they're going to be all right. I know a lot of y'all are going to disagree with me on the R.J. Lewis thing. And I know y'all saw the picture of Will Wade hugging him in the courtroom and all that stuff yesterday. I'm just here to tell you, if you're okay with that, you're part of the problem. If you don't think there's a problem, okay, then great. But if you're someone who's sitting around pounding the table about how much you hate the state of college athletics and you don't get it, and these old players and the pros and they're coming back and the lawsuits and what are we doing, if that's part of your conversation and you applaud R.J. Lewis, then you're part of the problem. And if you're an administrator at LSU, from the top down, you're part of the problem. But he's a hell of a basketball player, and he's going to make Will Wade's team better. And he got an injunction, and he is eligible. He's going to play for LSU this year because this is no such ambiguity like with the 5 for 5 guys. He's eligible, and he's going to play, and he's going to make LSU better. Hope it's worth it. All right, it's After Further Review, brought to you by Evamore, E-V-A-M-O-R, evamore.com, evamore.com, E-V-A-M-O-R, evamore.com. Go to the website, evamore.com. You can find a store that sells Evamore at evamore.com. Just type in your zip code. They'll help you out, evamore.com. Or you can buy it online. They'll ship it to you, evamore.com. 20-ounce, 32-ounce, 64-ounce bottles. I personally buy the 4 packs of the 64-ounce bottles. But find whatever you like. This is what I keep in my office upstairs. If you go in the little, like the hutch behind my, the shelving thing behind my desk, open up the bottom left drawer, I got like 4 packs of these is what I buy. At our house, though, we get the 20-ounce bottles, put them in the outside fridge. So you do you. Just drink Evamore. E-V-A-M-O-R, evamore.com, evamore.com. All right, y'all, it's After Further Review. Thanks for hanging out with us here on the Tuesday edition of AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Ross Jackson in 15 minutes from right now. Daquan Wright, the tight end from, Ole Miss to the Eagles to the Browns to LSU. He spoke today on an interview with WMAZ Television. And we'll let you hear what Daquan Wright had to say here in about 30 minutes from right now. We got a lot to do. Muse will do Tigers and the Pros next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Yo, we are starting to see. Look, let me say real quick. I know it's 100 degrees outside. All right, so let me not get ahead of myself. But we're inching closer to September which means we're closer to seeing the seasons change, and it's time to start thinking about fall. Those fall vegetable gardens, your fall planting. It's a great time to get by Clegg's Nursery. Any of the 4 locations. Sieg near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. We're getting closer to it. In the meantime, it is still hot as Hades outside, and that's why they have sizzling summer savings over at Clegg's. Caladiums, the tropical hibiscus. Get them all right now over at Clegg's Nursery. Y'all know Erica loves that dippledinia. That's her flower. We got them all over the house. Clegg's Nursery. Brought to you by Proform Steel, proformla.com. Proformla.com. That's the website. You want to get a quote. I should say, a quote for what? A quote for a metal building. That's what they do at Proform Steel. Proformla.com. So maybe you need a shed in your backyard. Or maybe you're a great big giant commercial or industrial company, you did a big commercial or industrial facility with a giant metal building. You want Proform Steel. So there's a lot of advantages to using Proform Steel. Quicker lead times because everything's in-house. They fabricate everything in-house. All American-made products, too, by the way. And free delivery on anything. If you buy a metal building from Proform Steel, no matter the size, they will deliver it for free. So go to the website, hit request a quote, put in your specs. Someone will call you today with a quote. It's Proform Steel. Proformla.com. Proformla.com.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
She says she's got a dream, and I ask what it is. She wants a little farm and a yard full of kids.
All right, rolling along here, wrapping up hour number 2. Ross Jackson in about a dozen minutes from right now. Right now, Muso as Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
All right, today at Bengals practice, Jamar Chase, he went down, landed awkwardly trying to catch a pass, and limped off the field without assistance from the medical staff. He spoke to the trainers, never left the field, but was held out of the rest of practice. After practice, he spoke with 1530 ESPN, said team pulled him out of caution. There's a little hyperextension. He's fine.
Well, here's the video, Paul, if you want to show it for those that have missed it. It looked awful. My hope was it was just that, where he landed, that it was just a hyperextension. But when you see that and how quickly he went down and was like crawling around, it's like you think the 3 letters.
Oh, yeah.
But hopefully it's just a hyperextension.
That's what he says. We'll continue to monitor that and imagine he won't be practicing very much here lately and probably won't see a snap in the final preseason game. He shouldn't see a snap in any of them, but keep you updated there on Jamar Chase. The Lions have placed linebacker Damone Clark on injured reserve. That ends his season here on Tuesday. Undisclosed injury that took place early in training camp for Damone Clark. Actually, when that injury happened, the Lions went and signed Devin White. So Devin White is now also a member of the Lions, but the move to IR for Damone Clark allowed them to sign a center that they needed as well because their center's out for 8 weeks. Major League Baseball, Dylan Cruz, big win for the Nationals last night by 10 over the Rockies. Cruz scored a run, drove in a run, and walked 3 times in that ball game. Again, 13-3, the Nats over the Rockies. Alex Bregman went 1 for 5 a night ago for the Chicago Cubs. That was a single for Bregman. He also would come around to score in the ball game. It was Kevin Gausman on the bump for the Cubbies to get the start. 7 shutout innings, 3 hits, a walk, and 6 punch-outs for Gausman. 94 pitches in that one. 7th win of the season, and the Cubbies continue to roll. And then another double-double for Angel Reese and the Atlanta Dream. 11 points. How about 26 rebounds in the game for Angel Reese? 3 assists and 3 steals, and the Dream got a 78-71 win over the Sparks. That is Tigers and the Pros.
Presented by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. Y'all pretty awesome, man. Tailgating returns a week from Saturday. You need all your tailgating supplies. Make sure you get it at Rouse's. Chips, dips, party plate, platters, trays. Pre-order them. You can do all that right now. All your drinks, adult beverages or otherwise. It's Rouse's, the official supermarket of the Saints. Rouses.com, Rouses.com. Check them out, Rouses.com. Today is $5 Sushi Tuesday. That's today and every Tuesday. Grab select sushi rolls for just $5 at most Rouse's markets. Rouses.com, Rouses.com. 76 locations from Lake Charles to Orange Beach and points in between. Get on by Rouse's. Rouse's, this feels like home. Okay, I'm working. So the SEC, One moment. Excuse me. The SEC leadership, as we mentioned, is meeting in Birmingham. So two days of meetings that was already scheduled. And they were supposed to talk about like autonomy, like self-governance, which was a heavy talking point at SEC Media Days. Well, with all of what's happened here with the players and the 2022 guys and the 5-for-5 and all that, a lot of these conversations have shifted to that. So I do know, again, I talked to Dr. Roos's office earlier today that he was flying to Birmingham for those meetings today and then was flying back for the Skip Bertman Celebration of Life, the memorial service, and then after which he's flying back to Birmingham for the continuance of the meetings tomorrow. Trying to get an update on what's happening at those meetings. If we do, we'll certainly pass it along to you here within the next hour or so. All right, it's after further review. Apologies, I just thought I might have had a message coming through. All right, so Ross Jackson's coming up right at the top of the hour. We'll get you caught up on national headlines. So don't go anywhere because as this develops, we'll certainly keep you up to date. And if I do get something, we'll bump Ross by a segment. We have a lot to get to in the next hour. We will talk to Ross Jackson. The Saints put 2 players on IR. Daquan Wright spoke to WMAZ television earlier today. So interested in that conversation, what Daquan Wright had to say on the record here about the possibility of returning for a 5th year and playing for LSU and all that stuff. So we'll get to all that here as we continue. It's a Tuesday edition of AFR powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
AFR.
If you want to see 2020, call 924-2020, 924-2020, or go to WilliamsonEye.com for the Williamson Eye Center. Williamson Eye Center has locations all over Greater Baton Rouge. Of course, Connell's Park in Baton Rouge on Bluebonnet as well, by Bluebonnet and Hennessy. They also have Ascension Parish, Livingston Parish, the River Parishes, Zachary. It's the Williamson Eye Center. So no matter where you are in Greater Baton Rouge, you need your annual eye exam, Williamson Eye Center. Because you should always get your annual eye exam. Maybe you wear contacts or glasses. It's time to update that prescription and get that prescription filled. Well, they have their optical shop. You need new lenses, new contacts. They can help you out there at the Williamson Eye Center as well. But if you want to ditch the contacts and glasses forever, you got to schedule a consultation with the Williamson Eye Center. Go see Dr. Blake Williamson and learn about what your options are. It's so much more than just LASIK. And there's nobody better than Dr. Blake at the Williamson Eye Center. Williamson, EYE.com.